Swadikap. Hi everyone. Today is a special day. I invite teacher Andy Smith from America, a competent teacher. So I would like to learn more about two commonly used words, subjective and objective, in education. So I would like to share things. What is the definition of subjective, objective? Okay, first of all, we talk about the general definition of it, and we're gonna go in deep about the subjective and objective in education assessment of Thailand. Welcome, Andy Smith. I will add and bring him in right now. Now adding. Wait a second. Hi. Yeah, your side first. สวัสดีครับ
Can you hear me?
สวัสดีครับ Yeah, it's a greeting from Thailand, Innovative English of Thailand. Okay, very nice. It's called why in Thai. Why, W-A-I. Like this.
Why?
Why. Yeah, great. Beautiful.
Very good.
Yeah, thank you for create your time and sharing idea about commonly used words, subjective and objective that is used in any area. So today I would like to share about this subjective, objective, or the other words, subject-based and object-based assessment in education, and share a bit about my experience about these words in my engineering. Okay, Teacher Andy, please.
Okay. So I think what I guess you were kind of saying is that you wanted like a definition of that. So as far as a definition of like subjective assessment and objective assessment, subjective very simply is when we give like let's say a project for students to do. Normally there's going to be kind of a list of things that they need to accomplish, or if we give an exam, they have to answer questions correctly. But if you give like an essay, or even in the idea of a project, that's a little bit more subjective, because subjective means I'm looking at the student, like let's say you do something and I say, well, he's a good student. He probably knew what that meant. He probably knew what to do. He just didn't quite do it. Subjectively, I know about him, so I can kind of adjust my assessment based on what I know about the student. Objective is kind of like 1 + 1 is 2. You can't do anything different than that. That's the answer. It has to be that answer. If it's not that answer, it's wrong.
Yeah.
So subjective is more of the things that you can't measure in assessment, and objective is the things that you can measure.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. Yeah, it is something I understanding. It's about the definition in my understanding. An objective question is something that aim towards a fact. Yeah. Like 2 + 2 is 4. It is fact.
Yes.
And you can access your students by the multiple choices, because this is only one answer. It's truth. And the subjective question, in my opinion, is something value. It's something value. It is idea, as you just said, and nobody can have the same opinions that another person or any subject. So it's about the feeling. It's about the perception. For example, if there's two people went to an event, and then when they were asked about their feeling, One might say it was great. Another said it's quite bad. This is not one only answer that depends on the people's perception. It depends on their experiences and many constraints. That is my understanding about the subjective and objective. It is how about your idea when about this example I mentioned?
Yeah, so when someone goes to an event and one person likes it and one person doesn't, there are many factors that are part of that. Maybe the person does, like, let's say they go to a concert.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
maybe that person doesn't like that style of music. So it doesn't matter what happens at that concert. It could be the best concert ever, but if they don't like that style of music, their perception of it is going to be subjectively different than the person who maybe has listened to that group play for their whole life and loves the band. So it could be a terrible concert, and if it's the person that loves it or knows the music and loves the band, they think it's great because they already have an idea about that band. And that's the same way with teachers. Sometimes when we have students, if you're grading something, especially like essays, if you're grading something and you see their name, you already have a thought of what they talk about. You have a thought of how they act. You have a thought about, you know, things that they've talked about and understand and show understanding before the assessment. So it's your perception of something that creates whether you um, are 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 liking something or not. So yeah, it has a lot to do with the feelings and emotions instead of, you know, true or false. Um, you know, like essays are very subjective because most of the time there's not one right answer.
Yeah,
People can think of many different things in many different ways, and so
depends.
it becomes very subjective with that.
Yeah, yeah. And now we come to schooling system. Yeah, because of the, I think, subjective and objective assessment, that is some certain different in terms of the scoring assessment, but it is time-taking process, you know, for checking answer. It's time-taking for writing. When the people write answer in essay something, and it's for the teacher, it's time-taking process. And multiple choice much easier. Yeah, it's very fast. Might be in seconds for the if the system is fully computerized. And for entrance examination, you can suppose hundreds, thousands of students join in examination, and the announcement period is quite limited. So you need to use multiple choice examination, so you can get the results and everything is in time. Yeah, and that's because of the hundreds thousand the hundreds thousands of students a year. So the my experience, that should be multiple choice. And we have another examinations. If you are past the first stage before the getting in a university, something like in engineering, you're supposed to test something. It's something like aptitude test. That is one specific testing. But okay, that become this subjective base. Subjective base. Yeah, for the small group. Yeah, that is examination. And how you think we can, by subjective assessment, how we can get the right scoring for the individuals about their competency as a teacher?
Well, I I think that But the idea of like even the idea of innovative English, um, and having more like project-based learning, to me that's real world learning. To me, that if you give a group of people a problem and they all work on it to solve the problem, isn't that better than saying, here's a question, here's four answers, you've got a 25% chance to answer it correctly, and if you do answer it correctly, then you're considered smart. If you don't answer it correctly, then you're considered that you didn't learn anything. But if you look at test taking, and this is something that, you know, I think that for myself, one of the reasons that I want to kind of branch out to the innovative English style is because we're worried about tests. But you don't go to, let's say, you know, I use this example for us, like a fast food restaurant. If I go to the fast food restaurant and order uh, a a meal, and they say, well, I can give you the hamburger and I can give you the fries, but I can't give you the drink because I don't do that.
Uh-huh.
Well, what's going to happen to them? They're going to get fired
Get
because they're
fired.
not doing their job. But that's the same way as assessment. If I'm not a good test taker and I can't take good multiple choice tests, but that's the only way that you look at me as a competent worker, that that's not in reality. That's not real world. So to me, the subjective, giving a project and saying, look, you need to create a thing, or you need to do this project and show me how you have learned. To me, that is much more real world than the objective of just giving them these really fast tests, like you say, with hundreds of thousands of students. You have to assess them. You can't have kids just write essays and do, you know, things like that and have one person be grading all that. You have to do these tests.
Mhm.
But I think that I think that it's what's lost is the fact that in the real world, at a job, no one gives you a test to show that you're competent. They tell you you need to clean the
Sorry.
bathrooms, you need to, you know, sell a certain amount of product, you need to drive this vehicle. All of those things, if I can take a test, I can say I passed the test on every single one of them. But if I can't do those actions, then I've done nothing.
Yeah.
So that's what's very frustrating about the you know these standardized tests and tests that everyone takes that are multiple choice and stuff, because they don't show what you really can do. They show that you can take a test, and some people can take tests very well, and some people can't.
Okay. Thank you. A while ago, you talking about the what happens in one restaurant. This should be a subjective for service Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And he said that Andy, he said that it's widely criticized in our countries about the Thailand education, might be in ASEAN, might be in America, about the mindset of the subjective and objective. It said that objective assessment, objective examinations can help um, uh, critical thinking and logical reasoning. And how about your idea about this?
Well, if you're talking about like critical thinking and
You
reasoning,
cannot get it from the multiple choice examination.
multiple choice is a guess. I mean, if you studied really well and you know the answer, then you're guessing at a higher percentage. But ultimately, and most of those tests, a lot of times well, what is the best answer? Well, I might think the best answer is A, but everyone else that has created the test believes that the best answer is B. But what if I was able to show you that A actually is the best answer? I can't do that on a test.
Mm-hmm.
I can do that in a project. I can show you this is the way I thought about it, this is the way I did it, and this is how I reached my goal. Maybe you don't do it like that, but I did it, and the critical thinking when I have a project or when I am showing my knowledge, I have to think a little bit more. Or if I'm working with a group, we have to put our heads together and think. But if I'm on a test, a lot of times if
Brainstorming.
I don't know
Yeah.
the answer, I just guess. I just guess and hope that I got the right one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you. I would like to share something. In my opinion, if I was asked about the disadvantage and advantage of the both approach, subjective and objective. I think it depends. It depends on the subject. It depends on the what kind of the work you are doing. I would like to share my 30-year experience. After my engineering graduation, I further my education in Faculty of Law in a local university. And because of that, at that time, we use the objective examination, and Thai students got used to this way of the testing. And when I start my study in School of Law, you know what happens on day one? The students supposed to be trained and how to write. That is how to express their thoughts logically. And every subject in Faculty of Law, in School of Law, need writing only. Because of the that is subject, you need to correlate about the law, and facts and case, and you have to think in a logical way, systematic way, and connect everything and to get the solution. And when you bring the case to the court, you need to explain clearly and logically. So that is only faculty is a School of Law that need badly people to have the skill writing, express the thought that cannot be done in objective examination. That is my experience. Yeah, and for the other faculties, it is combination that depends on subject. Like in my engineering terms, some very few actually. We use multiple choice. That is about the mathematics, because the answer should be one solution. Yeah, it is used multiple choice. But for the others, that we need to write something essay and express idea for something innovation. Something can be in several solutions. Yeah, because something cannot be fact, but it's about the something you have to correlate. And there are several answers, and every answer is correct, depends on your reasoning. Yeah, that is what I would like to share my experience when I study in engineering and School of Law. Subjective, objective examination is combination. Yeah.
Yep. And I think that I when I talk about objective and kind of the things that are wrong with it, you still can use the two together, because any process, like you say, like the lawyers, they have to write. Well, if they haven't been taught a process of how to write, which is the objective part of it, which is, you know, you need your opinion, you need some evidence, you need some support. That's all something that you've been taught so that you know how to do that. So that to me is the objective part. Like that has to be taught as a system. Like, this is what you have to do. If you do it, if you put your evidence first and then your topic or your statement, well, that doesn't work because no one knows what you're talking about. So there has to be a format, and that format has to be taught in an objective way. Like, this is the only way you can do this. Now, when you get to the part of, now I have to explain, I know how to do it, but then I can start using my critical thinking. And you know, so those do go hand in hand. Like, those they do, they're both necessary, but I think that the way education is going, you know, around the world, I think is there's just too much of the objective testing,
Too much, yeah.
which is just because there's just so many people that are doing things that you have to do that. You have to do that for time's sake.
For time's sake, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because the thing is, like I've always said, you know, for me as an English teacher, if I could just have someone, if I could hand all the papers that my students give to me to somebody else and tell them all you do is check for grammar and punctuation, and I didn't have to look at any of that. I could just read the paper and read it for the content that is within it and not worry about all the punctuation and the grammar. It would make life so much easier, because you're spending so much time worrying about these little things when in all reality you're not seeing the big picture of what they're really trying to say. And a lot of English teachers get very hooked up on spelling and grammar and you know, perfect writing. Well, perfect writing is very hard to do, but if you're getting your point across, why are we wasting so much time? Well, we're wasting so much time because we do know that there is a specific rule that says you have to have this word in this part of the sentence or it's wrong. But is it still, are you still getting your meaning across? That's the difference. If I'm teaching to teach, you know, nouns and pronouns, then they have to be exactly right. But if I'm teaching for, hey, tell me your ideas, a pronoun doesn't really matter. I can figure that out. I'm smart enough to understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
So they both need to be used. But I think that what teachers need to be able to do is kind of, I would say, like, open their mind to the fact that not everything has to be perfect to be intelligent.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you said,
Because
yeah.
you think,
Yeah.
like let's say, you know, talking to someone who is you know, English is their second language. Well, you are speaking in a completely new language, so you're already, to me, smarter than the person who can only speak one language. But when you talk and you mess up some words, the people that are listening say, oh, well, they don't know what they're talking about. Well, they do, and they probably know it better than you, but they just don't know what word to put in the right place.
Yeah.
But their knowledge is still there. Their knowledge is bigger. So that's what I have a problem with, is that sometimes teachers take way too much time worrying about the little things when they should be worrying about the knowledge that's in their head.
Yeah. 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 Yes, I agree, because I would like to relate something teacher Tim taught me for a couple of years. When you think about the project-based learning environment, the way of thinking is different from the others teacher, because first of all, they would think about the big picture, and later on, they're gonna connect the small parcels, and to get to the big picture, he can look from his bird's eye view. Yeah. And about what you just said, sometimes both subjective and objective can be used. It depends on situation, and nothing perfect, because it said that the reality is never absolute, right?
No.
And
Very true.
yeah. Okay. Again, I would like to share when I work as a project engineer. I'm talking about the project planning. I combine both approach when I try to create construction schedule. I divided activities into two. A group of activity is a simple. It's like a routine. When you build up the one single house, it's easy because it has a certain process. Start from the substructure up to the first floor, second floor, roofing, finish. Something we can predict precisely because of our experience, because of our past experience, and we can estimate precisely about the duration of each work description. That is, we use something objective because we know almost every factor affecting to our work. But sometimes there are some special technology to be incorporated into that home construction that is quite new for us. We never done it before. Yeah, so we step in subjective. We have to brainstorming, put head together, as you said, and predict about the time, about the duration. And sometimes we have the many alternatives, many options, many scenarios. We don't know at that time what is the best. We have to trial and error. We have to process like that. And then we get experience. And that's why we adapted both objective and subjective in our real time, our real world. And I think it's happened in the school as well. Because students have a different character, different perception. You have to get approach to them. And maybe you slightly adjust your technique in approaching your student. Yeah, that is what my understanding about these two approach in education.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. I think that in the school system, we've just always been taught that multiple choice somehow shows in that it shows that I memorized something. So I know that this is going, 1 + 1 is always going to be 2. If I put 5, it's going to be wrong. I can't do a project that would show how 1 + 1 would be 5. There really is no way to do that. Mm-hmm. But if I ask you, what's the fastest way to get from point A to point B, there could be 10 different answers for that. Because I don't know what point A to point B is, right? So you say, okay, show me, because I can say, well, if you just go straight, that's the fastest.
Yeah.
Well, show me. Okay, well, here I go, here's what I do. But the other person says, no, if I go to the right and then go left and then go straight, that's going to be better. Well, how do I know that? Well, when I can show you that maybe there was an obstacle in the way of going straight, then I have proven to you that my idea is correct. So, not every answer can be done like that. Not every answer can be multiple, not every question can have multiple answers.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That is something need to be adjusted. It depends on the situation. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's correct. Another things I would like to share about the many people in our country, the parent, they are worried about the objective examination. Meanwhile, the other school, they promote the subjective. The reason is the ratio. The ratio of the teacher and students is not so big. So if the one classroom, like the Darun Sikhalai is one of the demonstration school at the KMUTT, teacher team is working here, 5-1 student to teacher. So objective, subjective assessment is possible. And surely it's much better because a teacher can get very close to their students, 5-1. Meanwhile, in general in Thailand, in Bangkok and every school in Thailand, 50-1. 50-1. Yeah, their subjective assessment should be done only a few subjects that need to get and to let the student express their thoughts, because it's time taking. The teacher have to check out everything and scoring and ranking. Yeah, right. Yeah, and another factors, and that's why parents, if they can afford the education fee, they prefer to send their kids to a special school that is ratio teacher student is very small. Yeah, but that is the real world, because of the number of the students is 1 million, and meanwhile the teacher is not in the good rate, in the good relation in proportion with the students. Sometimes this multiple choice become better. This is for the real reason. Yeah, that is what happened in our country. A couple of days ago, when the teacher team joined in my life with teacher Abhinav from India, he mentioned a bit about the American education. That is, the people always think of American education is very beautiful, but what teacher team tell the facts, it is something like a spotlight. When you get information from the media, it's not the overall picture. It is some spot in America. And what is the fact in your point of view?
Well, I mean, what you're explaining as far as classroom size, it's happening here, pretty much everywhere. The thing. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah, take your time. Yes, it's very beautiful. So I can share about the in a comparative way about the education in two different countries. In America, that the people think about it's like developing countries. That education system should be the best. But it depends on the source of the information we got. It might be a well-selected information. And we have to talk directly and with the teacher, so we can know what is the real picture. That's he just reflect that about the classroom size. Yeah, it's also happened. It's over size of the school is very small. It's very little. It's very few. But actually, because of the population and the teacher, it's not in good proportion like a teacher and dismiss just told us.
So how long are the class periods in Thailand? Like how long does one class last?
More or less 40 minutes. 40 minutes.
Okay, so think about this. If you have 40 to 50 students in your room and you spend 1 minute each person to assess them,
yeah, time up.
That's a whole class period.
Yeah. Exactly.
So when you say like there's different ideas of assessment, and they say, oh, all you got to do is just go around and quickly maybe 30 seconds, maybe a minute, just ask the student what they've learned, blah blah blah. By the time you've done that, no one's learned anything, because it's time to go. And that's the thing is in in the States too, it is definitely become more and more students are in classrooms. And like you say, some schools, you know, you know, private schools or, charter schools, whatever, they have a little bit smaller class size, but, the regular school systems, they're getting upwards of 30, 40, 50 kids in their classrooms as well.
Mm,
And
mm,
so, to now if you were to say, okay, now all of those students, we need you to do a project that's going to take maybe 3 or 4 days to do. I mean, that's so much time that all those students, and then they have to present that. So now they're presenting it for another, 10 minutes, maybe 5 to 10 minutes, each one of them. So now you've wasted almost a week and a half of school just on one assessment.
yeah.
And that's the problem is we're having so many assessments, we're losing real time for students to be, to be successful. It just seems like more and more tests
Mm,
happen
mm-hmm,
every year. There's more and more of these objective tests that, you ask a teacher, you know, if you ask a teacher in their classroom to tell you about their students, pretty much every teacher can point at every student and say exactly what they're doing. Can say what level they are, what kind of work they do, how they're going to do on their tests. Any teacher can tell you that.
yeah,
So
yeah.
why do we have to give them a test to tell us that?
Mm,
A teacher can. That's their job. They know exactly what's going on with their students.
mm-hmm,
Um, so I think that that's the problem of too many students in a classroom. I think that's a worldwide issue,
it's a worldwide
and
issue.
it's
Yeah.
and it yeah, and so I see going back to the innovative English idea. It's like, well, why not take all those kids out of the classroom and start having teachers from all around the world who, let's say, a teacher who knows math. They do some math things with students. Teacher knows English, do
Mm,
English things, science, all these different things. Teachers start putting input from around the world, and suddenly you're going to have more students that are engaged because they just want to be involved with someone other than the teacher that they see every single day in their
mm,
classroom.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay.
And so, I think that that's the beauty of this is that people who want to learn are
Mm,
going to be attracted to this idea of learning in a completely different way than just going to school.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you.
Because, you
Yeah.
know, yeah, because Teacher Tim was talking about like saying like, okay, well, if students do X, Y, Z and they're the top student or whatever, then they can have a trip and go to someplace.
Yeah. The
The
work and
best
travel.
education is
Mm,
travel.
mm,
The best education is traveling and going to someplace.
yeah.
If you want to learn about the pyramids, why wouldn't you go to the pyramids and see them?
Mm-hmm,
Why would you read a book that tells you one perspective?
mm-hmm,
If you
mm-hmm.
want to learn about religion, go to the country where the religion is that you're studying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Talk to the
In,
people.
yeah.
Interact with
Immerse.
someone there.
It's an immersion.
Yeah. You can't learn everything from a book, and you can't learn everything from one teacher.
Uh-huh,
There's no way. That's not possible.
yeah. That's also happened in Singapore. One of my close friends, he's a Singaporean. In Singapore, there are two um, different schooling system. One is a normal education, and the other is homeschooling. The other is homeschooling. 10 years ago, my friend, he has 4 children. He has 4 children, and he came to Thailand and rent a house and with his wife and his 4 children. And his students can acquire many knowledge, immerse themselves in Thailand, and study the Singapore curriculum at home. And along the way, they have the many chances to get knowledge about culture, way of life of Thai people. And from time to time, we organize like a trip and travel to the north, up north, down south. And now, after 5 years, when he left to his hometown, you can see it's a difference about his children competency, the way of thinking, mindset, everything is totally different from the children that study only in the school. That is work and travel. And then it's a long stay in Thailand, 5 years, but it shows something different significantly between students learning in the, just only like the team always said, it's in four walls classroom. And everything is just listen, imagine, but not this face. How about the real world, real terms? Yeah. That is my experience sharing about my Singaporean friends with his 4 children. Andy, we come to another important idea. Last time when we talk about the classroom size, and this is a global issue, like you said, and teacher Tim, he proposed the idea about the online education because he told this problem is education in the world now gets stuck because of the we cannot manage like in the private school cannot manage too small size of classroom because of the business reason as well. But my question is, I would like to connect your idea with teacher teams about the this question. How do you think if the online education is completely substitutes the offline education to solve the class size and about the we can travel while you're learning with online education? Yeah, I would like to know your idea and what the teacher team shared last time, please.
Well, I think that the process that we've been kind of looking at is getting teachers that truly want to travel and be a part of students' lives in foreign countries. You know, right now, many teachers just go to work in their own country, in their own town, and they have their own little specific group that they are. Excuse me.
Levy.
You know.
Yeah. Is it a Levy or Levi? Last time you taught me.
Oh no, this is Lennox.
Oh, Lennox.
Lennox
okay.
Lennox is the little one. Levi is the big one.
Levi. Okay. Next time I will spell. I will pronounce it properly because I think of the gene. Levi.
Yeah. Okay. Levi, like the pants.
Yeah, pants.
Yeah. But I think what teacher Tim is looking at is trying to build that real world learning. So if you want to learn something, go somewhere else. You know, you don't have to go to a classroom to be educated. And I think that the interactions, like you say, I mean, with those people going for 5 years, their kids have a completely different worldview than any other kid, because they can say I was there. They can say I learned by doing something at that place, whatever it is. You know, because every country has so much to offer as far as, you know, their culture and rituals and you know, just the different things that that each culture offers. And I don't think that people can understand the richness of other culture until they actually are embedded in that culture. And you know, so the idea that I think that you're trying to, you know, the point that you're trying to get to is how do we merge this online ideal with kind of real world results. And I think that we can, if every teacher is putting something into it and making it, let's say, just making, even like the 6-minute English videos, you go on there, you do that, you're going to get interaction. And when people start interacting, I think that's a higher level of learning. Being able to communicate is massive. And so, oh goodness. And so, I think that interaction is going to be incredible when it grows to what it can be. And I think that it'd be very cool for teachers to be able to go and spend time with people in different countries and different cultures, and be able to offer something completely different than the teacher that's there in that place. I think that every teacher has so much to offer, and if we are able to get that out to many people around the world, I think it becomes a much better learning environment than just sitting in your classroom, learning English. Well, what about learning English but yet learning about other people? I mean, that seems like higher level learning to me. That seems more like you can be more subjective, because you can see yourself in other people's environment.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Okay, let me share my idea, because it is it's talk of the town, because of the technology disruption, and then university supposed to change, because their ideas for their modern education in university, educator, faculties, lecturers have to think about themselves, to be adjust and to catch up with the world changing, especially in the technology. Nowadays, teachers supposed to think and change their mindset, not just an educator, not just the one who are good at the researching, but they have to step up to another three duties. Like they're supposed to be innovator. He's supposed to be a connector, to connect whole stakeholders in the society. And the most important thing that is at most duties for the lecturer is to be agent of change. At all days, lecturer in university think of themselves just as educators. We just keep talking, teaching. That's it. Yeah, that is what is now talking widely in our country. And another idea, because someone said it's no need, because now the online education can completely replace the offline. Many also think they think in like balancing, nothing good, nothing bad. That is extremely, but we need to keep balancing, and balancing that depends on many factors as well. People said, why do we study at university? Because there are so many platforms, so many online. Just only a few years you can be expertise in something. We online. Google, yeah, can provide this opportunity. But on the other ideas, it said that you supposed to know what is a real person think. You do your business, and eventually your customer is a real people. It's not the robot. So you have to understand. And the most important thing that online education cannot offer you is a people connectivity in your real world. So I think, and I agree, we need to combine and keep a well-balanced education, both online and offline. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with that because you know the human contact is necessary.
Yeah,
Just seeing
socializing.
someone teach to you on a screen, um, you're not going to be as involved in that um, as if you knew that person or saw that person or interacted with that person
Hmm.
on some sort of basis because you know teachers build those relationships with students that you know that the student will do much more work if they like their teacher, and that's just human interaction. So yeah, you're right. I think the online part of it is awesome, but I still feel like if you think about you know kind of the way that we're talking about doing things, what if you showed up to a classroom in Australia and all those people have seen you talking for you know months, they see your face, they know that you're teaching them,
Eye
but if they
contact.
could see you,
Yeah.
oh, if they could meet you,
Mm.
and then your online would be even more valuable because then they could, you know, they know who you are. You're not just someone on a screen, you're actually a person that they met.
Yes, exactly,
And I and
exactly.
I think that even if students interacted like that,
Mm, mm, mm,
you know, students went to other schools and interacted, it'd be huge.
mm, mm.
You know, it was very interesting. I was teaching last year, and there was a foreign exchange student
Yeah.
um, in the other classroom, and I asked the teacher. I said, you know, where is he from? And she said, oh, he's from Norway.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife and I had gone to Norway and had watched a hockey game, and I'd taken some pictures, and I asked him. I said, do you watch hockey? And he said, yeah. And I said, I showed him pictures, and he was like he knew exactly what the team was, where they were at, you know, where they were from, whatever. And he's like, "How do you have pictures of this?" And I said, "Well, because I went and watched." And instantly, that
Wow.
connection, you know, is huge, you know. So when you go and interact with other people and do something that's connected to them, they'll do more for you. They want to you know connect with you even more. And that's what
Yeah.
I think. And that's what I think that this is about. This is
Mm,
about that you know worldwide connection.
mm.
I very much like the idea of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I would like to add something. In my point of view, both we can get benefit from both system, offline, online. Uh,
Hmm.
Finally, it depends on yourself, who you are. If you are a people-oriented guy, you can combine, you can merge the benefit of both together. Yeah,
Yeah.
my example, I think you know teacher Alice from China.
Hmm.
Yeah, he some teacher Tim
I know of
mentioned.
her. Yeah.
Yeah, teacher Tim mentioned about your teacher Alice many times. We contact uh, through a screen many times, and it happened last year. She interested in my products, Shivadi products, and she would like to test. She would like to test my products. So what happened when we contact for a certain period of times on online? Yeah, I sent my products to her, and she can feel the taste. And
Hmm.
from time to time, she asked me about the benefit of the coconut-based products. Yeah, I explained, and then finally she can hear about that, can see the picture, and at the end, she can taste. Yeah, we can combine both, and we turn something in the air into the real world situation. And yesterday, teacher Alice told me, yeah, because when we contact, we are online, we feel close. Like now that we're talking, and
Hmm.
I can
Hmm.
have your eye contact with you. And what is
Yep.
coming from inside is the trust. I mean, you talk with
Mm-hmm.
people, yeah, you feel like that. And teacher Alice, she planned to come to Thailand, maybe March or April, early April. Yeah, it is friendship. So
Mm-hmm.
she
Mm-hmm.
asked me for advice. What is the place? What is the schedule she supposed to plan for her trip with her family, with her husband? So I said, okay, please think over about your schedule and let me know the date,
Yeah.
and I will pick you up at the airport, and I
Mm-hmm.
will manage my free time for you and your family. That means
Right.
two things get connected, but it depends on individuals, as I told you. If you don't have the people-oriented mindset, this real world situation cannot be.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So the point is you can combine every things and make the something special every time. Yes. And like a teacher Andy,
Yeah.
whenever you plan and you come to Thailand, you're most welcome.
I appreciate that. I truly do, because I told Tim that that's my my goal is to start traveling again. Um,
Yeah,
because if I would have known you when we traveled there before,
yeah.
then we may have met up at that time. But yeah, I definitely that's the goal, is to do that, is to be able to interact and learn and also teach as well.
Uh-huh,
So
uh-huh. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's the goal.
Mm-hmm.
That really is the goal that I think that we're all trying to do.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. Yeah, I think there are so many perspectives to talk, not only education, but I think now you keep talking with such a team about the brand new platform, Web Talk.
Yes.
Yeah, I look
Mm-hmm.
forward to hearing about what you share again. And now I think this team did already of 3 episodes. And
Yeah.
we're waiting
Yeah.
the fourth one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like you may know, yeah, on coming April, I, teacher Tim, and teacher Paddy, his lady, we go to my hometown down south together. It is we stay
Mm-hmm.
4 days in temple, Golden Mountain Temple. So team will arrange the project-based environment in there, and try to
That's awesome.
advise young monk is novices in there for their summer camps. Yeah, and we will make use of the technology, Facebook Live, to tell the world what we are
That'd be
doing
awesome.
good. Yeah, not only for
Yeah.
Thailand, but for the world. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. I'm excited to see that.
Yeah. I think Tim
Yeah.
will do things special in there, and I suspect.
Mm-hmm.
I expect this. It is will wake up the trunk community to think about the new way of education instead of the
Mm-hmm.
teacher center education that they got used to for many decades. And it's a
Yeah.
solution. Team can combine both of things together and make the the great thing happens. Please follow what's happening in coming April. Yeah, it's
Yep.
take so much time of yours, and you are supposed to go to bed.
No problem. No problem. I appreciate these talks, because it's I think that the sharing of ideas and seeing that there are people that are like-minded, and that we want kind of the same goals.
Yeah,
I really like that. I really like the connection, and I get more and more excited about it every time that
me
we
too.
talk and
Me too.
learn more, and so it's
Uh,
awesome.
Yeah, because as you know, I'm engineer and I know very little about education, and I'm so excited whenever I have to talk with a real teacher with long time experience and in different countries that surely have the different way of the teaching. That is my direct
Mm-hmm.
experience and can ask my question and doubt. So that is special, and
Yeah.
I think it's very good time when we connect. And even the last time we talked about the education with teacher Binod from India. Yeah, that is also
Mm-hmm.
different. But anyway,
Yep.
what I can feel that there are many things in common in terms of education.
Mm-hmm.
And nowadays, every teacher in every country now start talking about the project-based learning environment.
Yep.
Even teacher team said it's not new. It's happened 50 years ago.
Oh yeah. No, it's
But
not.
now we are taking it in motion. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
And what
It's awesome.
when I'm talking with you, I love your Taj Mahal on the backside.
Yeah, we got that when we went to India, and
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's a cool backdrop. It's a cool backdrop to
It's
kind
a
of show
backdrop.
that that I'm not just saying things that that I like to travel and I like to learn, but I actually mean it.
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
this is just one of the artifacts that we've gotten in our travels. I like to get one thing that means something to me from each place that I go, um, and this was one of them
Yeah,
that we got.
yeah. Okay, Andy.
So
If you plan to travel some country, please think about Thailand and be sure.
I've been to Bangkok,
Wow, really?
and I
How many years? How
yeah
many years ago? Long times.
yeah probably
To 2000
maybe 5 years ago, five
to
6 years ago,
2014 to 2015
something
around
like
there.
yeah, probably something like that.
And
Yeah.
how many
Hmm.
places did you visit?
That was about it. Like we went to shoot, where was it? I went to on that trip. I was actually meeting some friends there. But I had gone to Vietnam, Singapore, Bangkok. Um, I think that was the three major places that I went. Spent a lot of time in Vietnam. I really appreciated Vietnam. That was
Vietnam, do
awesome.
you mean is Ho Chi
Um,
Minh or Hanoi?
yes, yeah, Hanoi,
Oh, it's
Ho Chi
up
Minh
up
City,
north. Ho Chi Minh is
Hue,
down south.
Hue, Hue, yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah.
No. So, yeah, and I have wanted to come back to Thailand
Wow,
and
why
visit a
not?
little bit more and see
Yeah,
more.
and
Yep, yep.
this time is different.
Someday.
This time different because you have uh, your
Yes,
friend, and we can
friends.
get together,
Yep,
enjoy together, teacher team, and many
yep,
people around. Yeah, yeah,
yep.
yes,
Yeah, that is definitely, the goal, and I we'll see how it works out, but I hope to here in the near future.
yeah. Teacher team, what see what teacher team say? He said after web talk, then innovative English global teachers and family
Yep,
travel the
yep,
world together.
yep, yep,
Okay, I think
yep,
so many things. We talk later, and then thank you very much for creating your
yep.
time for the innovative of Thailand. And
No problem.
yeah,
I appreciate it.
yeah, thank you, and please keep following what is a great thing happening in the south of Thailand at the Golden Mountain Temple. And thank you.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, good night.
Yes.
สวัสดีครับ สวัสดีครับ
All right.
สวัสดีครับ สวัสดีครับ
I'm trying to hold the little one.
Okay. Yes, it is great sharing about the education, and then it's we talk the other things is about the friendship, about the work and travel, and about the so many things. Yeah. You can see how beautiful it is when you are forget about the fearness, and then expose yourself to public and enjoy talking with the people of the different culture, different country. Here, it's very beautiful. So I would like to show and would like to encourage all of you to participate the same thing soon later. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everybody, checking out, and then looking forward to seeing all of you here, the True English Speaking Club. Thank you. สวัสดีครับ พิพัฒน์วงศ์วิพัฒน์จากประเทศไทย
ฟังเพลงกันนะคะลุกขึ้นได้ไหมยังคงมีหนทางยังมีรอยยิ้มสดใสก้าวไปอย่าหวั่นไหวหวาดกลัวพร้อมจนจะมองมนหรือจนความมืดมองมัวไม่กลัวจะฝันถึงวันใหม่หากวันใดอ่อนแอท้อแท้อย่าหวั่นไหวขอให้ใจไม่สิ้นหวังปัญหาแม้จะนานก็คงไม่เกินกำลังอย่าหยุดยั้งก้าวไปอ่อนแอแม้จะรอ